Namaste and welcome everybody in La Catch. This is a beautiful temple. Thank you for joining us again for the return of the priestess. So the wisdom keeper is you. You came here, everyone who's here now, believe it or not, chose to be here now. And there's great deep gifts happening. There isn't anything that's bad. And we're here because we chose you and I, and all these beautiful, beautiful guests that are coming and sharing their wisdom, sharing their journey, sharing their ups and downs, sharing the visions that they have. No one has been on an easy journey. So it's time to let that go and realize you come here because you're a master. You're come here because you came to awaken as the wise one. This is the gathering time of all the ancient prophecies of the wise ones, most especially of the divine feminine. Now, we're not talking at all about men are bad and women are great. We know we've had an imbalance of both. We know that that's ending. We know that we're rising very, very fast in our consciousness around the sacred feminine, meaning that not only have we erased and burned women's powers and forbidden their intuitive skills and called people witches and made that a bad thing, even though it's a wonderful thing, and everything in between, we're talking bigger and deeper now. We're talking about embodying your sacred promise to the universe, which was, I have the potential to remember that I'm a wise one, and I'm going to go into my life and I'm going to end and complete all of these dramas and these vows and these lineages and these family patterns, and I am going to transmute them and take the pearls out of them and become who I'm designed to be. So each of us has a blueprint that is buried deeply in our light body. And if we surrender to it and we discover our design and we discover our strengths and we listen to that intuitive voice and we start to honor the sacred feminine as something of power in our voice, in our minds, in our hearts, then we can begin to embody completely different senses, completely different perspectives, completely different ways of manifesting. We don't chase, we don't rush, we don't worry, we don't think there's not enough. That's all for the world that we were raised in. And that's a living place. But you come from a time and a place, you have many lives in the past and in the future, maybe as a priestess, as perhaps we call it now. But the everyday priestess is you in whatever roles you're playing in your body now. That is where you bring in the wisdom, bring in the medicine. So enter our sacred space. Today we have one of my favorite people, a dear, dear friend of mine, a former client, a teacher of mine, an incredible woman, Raquel Reyna. And she is become really the leading person in the human design movement. And I say that because there's probably people who know more or who've been doing it longer, but what she's doing is the exact thing we're talking about. She's blending that expertise and going deeper with it and doing it herself. She's walking the path because a priestess is a person who is the mouth, the voice, the tongue, the words, the hands, the body of the goddess, of the divine feminine on earth. It's like Metatron. If God, so to speak, was going to talk to you, it would blow your head up. So then a being comes in and transmutes, transforms that energy. Well, we are that, but we have to reclaim that direct connection, right? So now, as you embody that, come into this moment because what Raquel holds for us today is a really beautiful energy. She's just gorgeous and beautiful. She has been through everything up and down. She is in love. She's found a beautiful balance, sacred masculine, sacred feminine union in her life. And you don't have to, but that's a massive manifestation in our current reality to actually have that and to be walking your path of growth with a partner that isn't like thinking you're crazy or going off in another direction. And she, like I said, she embodies what she teaches, and then it's practical, right? And that's what we need now. We need to say, oh yeah, I love to go to the top of the pyramid and leave my body and chant for 3 hours and dance around with the universe and travel dimensions. And I do all that as a shaman and a priestess and a spiritual teacher. I love it. But what we're talking about is then what do you do? How do you merge those two worlds? And so let's come into sacred space together. And we're going to close our eyes. We're going to take a nice deep breath in. We're going to call on the priestesses of Isis throughout time and space, on every planet and every star, originally from Venus, and all of the times, all the temples. As you breathe out, let that go down through your body like a purple blue cleansing light. And as it goes down through you, circulates throughout your belly, really cleaning out. Is it dark in your belly where you have your light, your power? Is it too bright in your belly? Is it hard to see in there? Do you have a lock on the door? Let this beautiful Syrian energy that's coming still in from that lion's gate, this blue spiritual sun within you, let that now be born in your belly. And now let that, the sun, the solar energies, the medicine of the divine unconditional love, and the awakening of your own life force, your own kundalini, that is the awakening of the divine feminine, because it is the genesis of all life. Blended with the Sirius, the spiritual sun, the blue, the purple, it's overflowing like a cosmic whirlpool in your solar plexus, flowing down into your sacral, filling your sacral, opening a whole new pathway, a whole new world. And we're going to enter our temple of the divine priestesses. And the return of the priestess, both me and who I was, who I can be in the future, me as a student or a teacher, me as a teacher, a wise one, a medicine woman, an architect, a queen, a leader, me as a mystic, me in all times and places. I just breathe in again, and I enter this sacred space in reverence, presence, and love, asking to be here, to be now, and to be awakened and alive in all my senses that are ready for this beautiful appointment with Spirit, to receive this wisdom download from Raquel through my guides in the most optimal way for me at this time. Now we enter the sacred space, ready and willing, open and receptive, and bathed in gratitude. See yourself in this temple, feel yourself into this temple. As we now acknowledge all the energies, all the wonderful people who've been here, all the speakers, and now we're welcoming Raquel. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. That was beautiful.
Thank you so much. So, you know, I'm going to share. I don't think I shared your bio, so I'm going to share that now. Um, there we go. So, in this series, the inspiration was really the simplicity of listening to nature again, the simplicity of realizing that we're eternal beings that keep being reborn, that keep bringing things in. So make sure you come over onto my channel, onto my show. We do lots of really cool stuff over there. And so this is about this rising of the sacred feminine, like we talked about, consciously creating, living in flow, harmony, love, deciding what you want to fill your words with, what you want to fill the blessing with when a penny comes to you, when it goes out from you. How can you continue to bless the world in everyday ways? So our beautiful goddess today, Raquel, is you can find her at Raquel and Davidian, and the link is below. It's in the emails, so make sure that you find her, and then just ask us if you can't find her. But she's very big on Facebook and all that, so I'm sure you can find her there. So Raquel, boy, I mean, I've known you for a long time, and I remember when we first met, and we were working on. You had this incredible spiritual background, like really such a long time, like since the age of 23, to have a spiritual journey awakening is very profound. And even for people now. And so you know that this is a wisdom teacher, right? So she had a master's degree in spiritual psychology and has become this revolutionary human design teacher that I was telling you about. And she used to travel the world going through shamanic initiations. Yay, one of my favorite things to do almost all the time, as much as I can here, with one of the most powerful shamans in the world. And I've studied with shamans, and I am a shaman, and it is such a profound medicine to me. It brings everything together. I love that she's a spiritual shock igniter, and she's so good at it because it's not obnoxious and it's not rude and it's not masculine. It's completely in alignment with her design, which you'll know. And she gets to help people understand their personalized success codes, because human design is a system that tells you a lot about yourself, and how, if you shift into acting and reacting that way, it's going to change your life and align you with a lot more ease and abundance and all the good things she'll share. So her human design school is called Creative Coaching Certification for Human Design Specialists. Again, you can find everything there. She's got 2 books out now. Are You a Mutant? A step-by-step human design guide, Unleashing Your Genius. Genius, it's everything you need to know. I remember you're like, this is the book to have if you're not really wanting to become a practitioner, but you really want to know, have all the basics at your fingertips. And then Illuminating Human Design, the shadow side, yum yum. And as a spiritualized business coach, she's had her own business for years. She has a business with her partner, which I love, as a whole other level of manifestation that a lot of people like. And she's using the spiritual side, the shamanic principles, in concert with the psychology and the human design and all of that good stuff. So, and then if you go there, right, you can get your free human chart. So that's a beautiful gift she has for you. So, all right, good. So thank you for being here. Why don't you fill us in with whatever you feel inspired right now around the topic, and all the juicy things that you're going to share, filling in your story a little bit about what you feel is important for people to understand.
So, as you're speaking, what's really coming forward for me around this topic is in my own personal journey was one of my first spiritual experiences was in Egypt, and having this birth and this memory around the priestess and having such a deep connection with Isis. And I was so young at that time, and having a full download memory of a priestess life and what happened in that experience in Egypt really has taken me 20 years to unpack. So, yes, I was really young. And also during that time, there were a lot less books, there was a lot less foundation, there were a lot less tools. So, I didn't really know how to embody my spiritual teachings. It just threw me into total chaos. And so, in order for me to find my way in this world, I was living as an artist, and then I was trying to find my way in corporate America. And so, but the first birthing was this awareness of the burning of the witches, the priestess. That was my very first kind of awakening that there's more to this world, understanding what happened to women in our journey. And this has really been an incredibly interesting struggle for me throughout my life, feeling like I was raised by a narcissistic father. I had to learn my own inner strength and heal sort of the toxic masculinity that we've been raised with for the last 411 years, really. And the reason I say 411 years is kind of this topic that I wanted to bring forward today in this conversation, which is about this. So let me finish by saying, through my story, the thing that really helped me practically was, like you said, human design. It helped me embody the spiritual into the practical daily tools. And I use human design on the daily as a map. I use it as a guide for my clients, and it helps people to kind of plug in their GPS system into the car to assist where you're going. And it gives you the map, it gives you strategies, and kind of shows you where you might be amplifying something that's not you. And so I wanted to bring forward this notion of the 411-year cycles, as I mentioned, that is found in the human design global cycle patterns and awarenesses that have come, because it is a system that embodies astrology. So it does go through astrological cycles. Now, many mystics, many teachers are talking about the changing times. We were talking about it before we turned on record. It's a new time. The energy is potent and people are shifting, and there's a huge new shift with AI and with so many things coming in. And what human design is, it kind of lays out a map of these global changes. And what it says is there's a global epoch, which means we have a human design chart for all of humanity. There is an epoch, meaning we all have things that we are contending with. We think we're separate. We think we're not connected to other people. But if you pull back far enough in any system, you can see these big systems. And so what human design is mapping out is the shifting of the wheel from one energy grid to the next. And what comes with that is also the shift from the masculine godhead to the feminine godhead. So I just love that term because, and it took me a while to see that because I had never really studied the godheads before, which is another aspect of human design. And then when I saw that happening, it was like kakunk, right? Like the next level of awareness about what's happening. So I just love that you're doing this rising of this priestess, because I do think it's ingrained in this global epoch shifting.
Yeah.
We can see it in so many ways.
Well, what I love about how you use this system, because you were called to it, clearly it was a memory that came alive within you for some reason, right? There you have a deeper calling to something. People might learn some of it, like I learned some of it, but I wasn't called to go deeper, but I have other stuff that I can't get enough of.
Of course.
But then looking deeper and broader than the constant conversation. And I think this is true across the board. Every system we've ever learned, every book that we've read, like this was the book. Okay, some of these ancient books are the same as the books 40 years ago, right? However, that was still from a perspective that we have a unique perspective on now. And it's the merging of all of that back together from who we are now that can create the new container. So that's what I love about what you do, and showing people, well, who you are. And I remember when I first you did my chart, and I can't remember, at some point somebody, I was in a group with you, and one person who knew the chart looked at me and she said, "Oh my God, look at that struggle channel." Like, and you hear that and you're like, but you were able to explain, like anything else, that's something that's there that gives you power, that gives that if you face it in a unique way, if you look deeper past it, how is it providing you something powerful for what you're meant to do? Right, and who you're becoming now. So one thing too that you can weave in here, so I love this, like we're moving from the godhead to the goddess, the feminine and the masculine, but then this is to the Maya, this is the time of unity. So 2012, we reached the top of the pyramid. That's the consciousness of unity. We're kind of lagging behind. We're figuring it out. It's sort of like the universe drags us forward, whether we're doing it or not, right? But they have so many similar prophecies that match the things you've told me in human design. It's like this is the gathering of the wise ones. 2027 is the year of the new fire, the new sacred fire. And I know you've talked about 2027, being this profound thing too. So, okay, take us deeper.
Yeah. So I think that what absolutely there's this pushing of the oneness, and this idea that the inner world and the outer world are reflections of each other, that there's not a separation, and we're learning how to dance with that. And I think that as this new sacred feminine in this new wheel shift is pushing up the notions of the feminine and human design, are it's very interesting because the feminine based in this knowledge is more about um being super so being more passive rather than active, right? So it's the embody so when we have something like the masculine godhead, the focus, the strategy, the make it happen, the work, all of these sort of traits that embody the masculine godhead, what came about in the last 411 years was putting this energy up on a pedestal and putting us in a separation from what the power is. So the masculine godhead became this incredible force and power that somehow demanded that we take a step down. We take a lower step to that pushing up of the intellect, the focus, the making something happen, the pushing to get ahead. So in human design there's two ways that that's being shifted. One is this feminine godhead and the other is through variable. And variable is when everything that we used to use to manifest is based on strategy and focus. So anybody who was what we call right variable was struggling in the last 411 year cycles. So that was people who are open to future vision. Those people that were a little bit more receptive. Those people that were more dreamy, that had more vision, that had more of the need to surrender. And so what's happening is that everyone is now shifting to the right facing variable, which means that every single person, whether you're male or female, has to embody the more feminine traits of receiving. So, this is going to be like whether you're in a masculine body, whether you're in a feminine body, you have to learn how to receive, to dance with the flow, to be in the moment, to allow, to let things happen naturally, to not bulldoze over someone else to get on top, but instead be back into the joy and the surrender and the dance of everyone working together for the unfolding of higher value system, which is like the joy of each person living as their unique self, each person fully embodying their own truth. And so that's going to be just like a huge theme, and the way we see it is masculine feminine, because we are in duality, but we're going to be realizing that the duality is going to have less and less of an impact. So every single person is going to have to embody this more feminine nature. And then literally every single person is going to be born through this right angle variable, which we're not going to see that probably going to take another 20 years according to human design cycles. So in the next 20 years, everyone will be born with this more feminine quality. So it might happen naturally because we started with the more masculine qualities. So if you look at how the cycles had started, part of it was that all of humanity came from this very strategic mindset. And we slowly had both. So then we started integrating both the strategic with the more receptive. And now we're going to be stepping into this more receptive. So as that's happening, we're also going to be stepping into this feminine godhead, which the godhead is really the place that we revere. The godhead is the place that we learn to and I don't see in human design what they're saying is the aura mechanics are not something you choose. They're something that are happening. And just like being on this earth plane, yes, maybe you can say we had pre-birth planned and we all chose our life. But on some level, we're here in these physical bodies, and we don't really have a choice. We're living this life cycle in these bodies. We can't just like all of a sudden say, okay, I'm gonna be a cat today, even though we might, love to feel the idea of that. And in shamanism, you kind of are able to move through different animals, but you know what I'm saying. There's a part of this life that we have embodied. We've embodied the human vehicle. And so in human design, they're saying there's certain global cycles and things in place that are there. They're in place, and we need to move with them. And so when these things are in place, you can't change it. So the masculine godhead wasn't something we were able to change. It was something we were dancing with.
Yeah, it was
And
even
so
yeah.
yeah, we it was there.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what's cool about the ancients is they looked at the prophets, right? Of which is another form. I mean, we literally are the prophets of our life because what we say happens, you know? So, but that idea that they were able to look, like you said, at the cycles and see, like the Maya knew something was going to happen and kill their culture. Most indigenous cultures knew that was going to happen. They didn't know how, but they were like, okay, let's prepare. Or okay. And, or there's that. And this is a time of such profound power that I believe if you're alive now, you chose to be here and you chose it for very specific reasons. So, yeah, that, the Maya were raised that they were divine in a body. So from the minute they were born, they were walking in both worlds and they were required to take care of their divine blueprint as much or really to understand that they're a container for it. And their most important thing was their spiritual purpose. So yeah, just oh my gosh, so profound. So I love what you said is that joy and surrender and the dance of the sacred feminine. And it's like letting go of the concepts we've had that the feminine is weak, that the feminine is emotional, that the feminine isn't strong, that the feminine can't speak up, that being feminine means you love everybody even when they're abusing you, and all of this crazy shit that we're finally shedding, right? And that idea, personally, everybody's going through their own thing, breaking free from a marriage or changing their concept of themselves or changing their relationship with money and every form of what we consider power in the world. But what we have is inside of us, like you said, you have a container that was designed not only specifically for your purpose in your soul, but then tuned into the cosmic cycles, to the cycle of collective. So that's beautiful what you said, because I think one of the most important lessons that is being realized but is not very common yet is that stop trying to change everything. Stop trying to tell people what to do. Stop listening to that person's story and that thing and that thing and that thing. And if you don't like it, don't talk about it. Don't create it. Don't make more of it. You are a manifester. Start to look at something else, because all of your energies and powers are, if you're shifting through that collective consciousness, to me, you can tell me how you see this in yours, but you're contributing to one particular path or another, or a million other potential timelines. And the power here is like, who am I? Wow, how can I embody this? What's unique about me? And I also would love to hear if you have, if this is relevant in the system. The age of Aquarius is very misunderstood. Like the 60s, it was all like, woo, let's just all be happy and, organic and whatever. That's nice. But it's the raising of the individual, the individuality, the spiritual individual, very strong desire for freedom to be individual. And yet it's about the whole. Oh, we have to be one. We have to love all each other. And so we're seeing on the political and governmental and whatever stage that they're using that to take away freedoms. Oh, for the greater good of all, we all have to shut this down. You can't have that. You can't go here. There's this law, blah, 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 blah. And yet on the other side, we're all waking up going, I must be free. I must be expressed. And so those are going to meet somewhere. I know.
Yeah, I think this notion that we're embodied and empowered to our own inner authority. So, the other place that breaks through confusion on so many levels of what's happening right now, and confusion is a big theme, like I was saying with AI, the fake news, the deep fakes, and just a lot of confusion around information, people telling you what to do. The only way really through it is to know your own sacred authority and to embody the truth of your authority. Now, again, this is a piece from human design where There is a lot of systems that say follow your intuition or follow your heart or follow this guidance or that guidance. And what human design is saying is even uniquely, we're embodied to follow the inner authority a little bit differently, uniquely based on who we are. And so once you really stand firm in the embodiment of your unique inner authority, then you can't be swayed from what someone's telling you to do through the mental gymnastics that people are putting you through. Where if you don't do A, B, and C, you're sacrificing the elders, because if you don't do, whatever the bullshit is that's out there, right? There's a way to infringe on the inner authority. And that strength of the inner authority is going to be empowered through this shift, through this next global shift, because it is the era of the individual as well as the new feminine godhead. These are all themes that are coming into play. And the era of the individual is 100% about not letting tribal structures be more important than the sacred individual. So the tribal structures we were in before, and when you see the global epoch, it means that those tribal structures, those were in place. And even though we had individuals, they were the black sheep. They were the odd man out. They were, ostracized for being different, even though it took, a black sheep to start the manifestation of the Apple computer. You have like a total alien, and I don't mean Steve Jobs, I mean Steve Wozniak, the one who was in the garage tooling away, making the computer. That's the individual. And we all saw him as kind of a freak until we knew what he was building, because you can't see the genius until it's actually in fruition. But that was the past. So the past was so often that individual had to fight so much in order to be recognized. Well, because the global shift is changing, the individual is going to be the way of the future. It is the way forward. So that means we are going to have this instantaneous knowing. We're going to have this instantaneous awareness and individuality as the global epoch. So we'll still have religions and tribes, and we'll still have family, but they will not be the way. They will not be the structure. They will not be part of the global epoch. So even though they'll be there, they'll be the black sheep now. They'll be the ones that are like the odd man out. Oh yeah, you sacrifice yourself for your family. In our family, each person's completely an individual. We honor their path and we don't tell them what to do. Like that's going to be the way. And so it's going to allow for all of us who've been on the outskirts this whole time to feel like this is what we were born for and this is what we've been preparing for. And so that is also the flowering of this feminine energy that you and I and probably everyone listening to this has been feeling, because when you're talking shifting of 411-year cycles, then our whole lifetime has been seeding and preparing and feeling the not the echo, but seeing the premonition before it happens, right? The premonition echoes, meaning we're seeing the future, we're feeling it, we're knowing that we need to be individual, we're knowing that we need to embody the feminine nature. And the beautiful thing I think that's happening too is these women who are probably everybody here, and I know you, it's that we are not here to, like you said, stuff the man down now that the feminine's rising. It's about how do we fully embody, how do we fully revere the divine masculine within us and outside of us.
And one of the things that's really important about that is to get out of this bad men are bad and all that. Of course, yes, we have plenty of proof of that. We have plenty of proof that lots of people are bad, whatever. Okay, so it doesn't matter. It's a story. But the
Right.
idea that we have never, like you said, in 411 years or probably longer, we have never experienced balance, masculine or feminine.
Right.
So the feminine's been, I mean, yes, maybe it's because of these laws and these rules and burned at the stake and all this stuff, but it doesn't matter. That's been out of balance, and the masculine's been out of balance, whatever they've been doing. And now we have to embody and see a completely different masculine. We don't know what it's like to have a sacred masculine. We don't know what it's like to have sacred feminine. How many role models do we have that can completely embody the sacred feminine? We see some examples now, but it's not across the board because we've never done it before. We've
Right.
never been who we are now. But the idea, like one thing I like about the Maya idea is that the masculine is actually the still energy. It's the foundation. It's the stillness of holding space for the feminine. And the feminine is the more active principle that comes inside that sacred space and then creates,
Yeah.
that brings forward that energy. So, whatever way it is, this is an opportunity to create the world you want and change what you think about the sacred masculine so that it can come to you, it can embody that and maybe something else.
Yes, absolutely. I think that is the process right now is seeing the empowered energy of the feminine against where we've been conditioned. So the conditioning has been very, very powerful, and all of us feel, and we were born into this conditioning element. And by conditioning, what I mean by that is where you're open in human design, where you're so it goes through the centers like the chakra system, but the way in which human design works those systems is that where you're not defined, you're absorbing and amplifying what's not you and thinking it is you. So it's like a distortion. So the patterning from childhood through the training of how do we live on this planet, we've all been so deeply conditioned to believe that it's about setting our goal and then working towards that goal, working really hard, whatever it takes to make something happen, the focus, the intensity, and we all somehow feel. I mean, I can't say we. I should never say we all feel that way because, of course, there are some people that have transcended that, but that has been such a deep level of conditioning. Also, that you need to really work hard to make money. You
Mm.
have to struggle to make money. You have to you have to push people down. So, all that energy is in this deep process of release and letting go and understanding that there is so much power in manifestation when you're in the flow, the zone, the surrender, and then, yes, taking action out of the inspiration, you know? So it's really a beautiful, I think it's a beautiful reordering of the energy.
Yeah, and it's exactly what we need because it isn't about one being better than the other. It's about gaining the wisdom from everything. Oh, okay. Like if you've ever cooked, oh, I put too much garlic in that. Next time I'll put less garlic. You just keep saying, okay, that's how human bodies came up. Let's try that. Let's try this. Let's. It's not like an evil plan. It's like you never get it right on the first time. Ooh, now we've grown into new powers. We're creating a new body. We're creating a new structure. We're creating new senses that we can tune into, receptors. People's intuition are waking up. The states of consciousness around us are opening and letting us tune into them, that at a frequency we've never had access to before. And I'm very glad you brought up the pushing shoving thing. This has been a conversation in my classes for years now, and it's really, you and I have had our own businesses pretty much our whole life, and it's been that constant journey of like, I want to be a success. How do I reach people? Do my marketing work? But is this work? Does that work? How do I balance with my spirit? How do I stay in my feminine and sell? And then we're both projectors, so that's a whole other level of, how do you say, hey, you should come into my retreat when you're not supposed to talk to people, whatever, like, in your authority and all that. So it's so good though, because the underlying concept that I've realized in the last year is that we're actually pushing our abundance away. We're actually blocking it by saying, oh, I have to struggle, I have to suffer, it's going to take 5 years, I'm going to have to do all this stuff, I'm going to have to spend a lot of money. You might do any of those things, but when you decide that that is between you and your success, it will be there between you and your success, right? It is what you're choosing, and it is not, it's like it's here, it's now, I can feel it. Oh yeah, I love it. And then the doors will start to open, and it's very difficult for our training. You know, I was raised in the Midwest, you know, a German mother and a Scandinavian father, and it was like just work hard and suffer all the time, and then maybe you'll be good enough and we'll give you a pat on the back. So, you know, we've got that. And yet, wow, I mean, it's effortless. It doesn't feel effortless, right? Because we have to go through our emotional journey and our inner receiving journey. But when stuff just appears, like this is a silly thing, but it's just cute because I teach this wishes fulfilled class, like mastermind, and we're together every week and we're talking like this is coming up. How do I shift my perspective? How do I do, you know, embody what I want instead of creating more of what I don't want? And it's just like my life is programmed to be in a flow of harmony, that people are always appearing in my life, in my path of bliss, and a bunch of other stuff in that. And I don't really worry about money. I don't really look at it. It's there. You know, I have changed that relationship. Of course, I still have to pay bills and all that. But the thing is that I don't have any desperation like I used to have. Like, oh, you know, what if it doesn't come? Or what if I lose it? Like that part's gone away. And now these synchronicities of magic are just so cute and delightful. We were in town getting ready for a trip to England. I went into a store. I had a list of things I needed to buy. I bought them. The guy was adorable. We had a great time. I left. I went, got in the car, and then I went, oh, did we buy this other list? I had two lists for the same store. And I was like, no, we didn't do that. So I turned around and went right back in. I didn't go, oh, why didn't I go back in? I turned around, went back in, and it was $100 for my second thing, and I won it. Like the guy's like, "Oh, goody, you're back, la 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 la," and he rings it up and he turns the screen around and he's just staring at it and he goes, "It says you know, your ticket is free." And I'm like, what is going on here, you know? And he was just like, oh, you won. Every now and then they give away a free receipt. And look, you did it. And he took a picture of me holding the receipt and all this stuff. And then the next store I went to, they gave me a loaf of gluten-free bread, which I don't even eat that. But it was like, I didn't think of it. They were like, here, it's for you. And I go, no, I don't want that. They were like, no, it's a present. It's a gift. We want to give it to you. You have to have it. I'm like, so I walk into the car and Chris goes, you just got a free thing and now you got a gift? What's up? And I'm like, oh yeah, thank you. You know, so okay. Well, I know you can you're gonna treat us with a beautiful journey experience now. So I'm gonna hand it over to you. It was a wonderful segue into this.
Yeah, I love it. It's the embodiment of the joy and the vision and the feminine. So, yeah, so what we're going to do is just this healing of this, the inner masculine that we've all been trained with, that we've all been holding, that we all have been embodying. So, what I'm going to ask everybody to do is just go ahead and take in a breath. So we're going to go into this process together. So I'm just going to ask you to once again take in a breath with me and just allow whatever has been present in your day, whatever's been going on, wherever you've been holding, to just come into this moment, to come into this sacred space together. And I'm going to ask that you just scan the body and allow yourself to be present, to be here now. What I'm going to ask is that we set the intention for the divine, sacred healing of any masculine traits that have caused pain. So I want you to just spend a minute looking back on your life. Anytime perhaps you haven't been supported by the masculine, maybe you have been asked to put yourself down to lift them up. Perhaps maybe you were trained that in order to get ahead, you needed to push, you needed to struggle. Perhaps there was some type of financial loss, the inability to hold the backbone. Maybe in your past you were asked to take everything that was happening in your life and move it into a direction that did not feel correct for you. Maybe you were trained to push hard, to step on people. You were trained to make something happen, to go after your goals no matter what, at any cost, to hustle, to work harder, to work faster. Perhaps that is the only answer if you need more money, is to work harder. So I want you to just take in a breath with me now and step into the space further back where you get to witness, where you get to see from that higher perspective, and just see yourself rising up, moving to the higher branch, the higher place beyond the tree, that place where you can see from many perspectives. And you begin to feel the shift in the body now. You can feel where that push was held, perhaps in the shoulder or the back or the stomach. And now it's beginning to lift. And what we're going to do now is embody what it feels like to be in a gentle surrender, to connect in with a greater source. That source allows you to feel, to surrender, to become inspired, to trust, to be in the synchronicity, to be in the flow. To trust that inner authority within. There's no action when you're exhausted. There's no action when you can't move or when you're sick. The action comes when you are inspired. You heal the body, so the inspiration comes powerfully through every cell, every pulse of the blood, every bone in the body. And you get your instantaneous download knowing what you need to do next. It may not even make sense. It may not be logical. But in this energy, it's not about the logic. It's about trusting the inner knowing. Trusting the divine feminine flow. This is not something that only women need to embody. This is the new way. So take a breath in with me and feel what it feels like to surrender, to allow in the sacred, to embody the flow, to trust the divine dance. What shifts in the body? And then, as you're in surrender, what comes forward in the action is the powerful sacred masculine. It moves when time is right, it protects the vulnerability because it's so powerful. We know when to take action because we're strong and ready and inspired. And then we know when to receive. We know when to breathe. We know when to exhale. We know when to inhale. We know that this is a sacred dance. Both need to be embodied, and we begin to start to realize that there is a oneness, a unity within our body, both masculine and feminine within. And with that, I'm going to ask you to take a breath in. Come back into the space, come back into the room, come back into your body. And as I opened my eyes, I don't know where you are in the world, but I saw 1212 in my world.
That's fun. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh, so beautiful in such a very sensory way. That's my favorite way of experiencing these kinds of shifts and these ideas to bring them in through all the senses, and give it the vision and the feelings and the colors and the sensations. So repeat this and share this and embody this for sure. Um, Good. Well, what else? Is there something you'd like to leave us with? And remember to go over and to get your free chart, right?
Yeah. So if you are curious, if you're wondering what your type is, you want to embody it just a little bit more, please jump on and get your free chart. And we have, if any of you are in the Southern California area, we are doing the annual Human Design Conference out here in Southern California, Orange County. And it's going to be a time and space for people to heal, to leave your ordinary routine, to learn about your human design, and to step into a new dimension, a space where, I feel so called to, and I know you've been doing this so much, but to get off of the screen and to have an annual meeting place where people can come together and meet each other and have transformation and union and also embody new teachings. Um, so that's the Awake Shift, awakeshift.com. If anybody feels called and is in Southern California, please come and join us.
That's December, right? December 2026.
December 5th, 6th, and 7th. Yeah. No, December 2025.
2025. I'm sorry. Yeah. Uh-oh. No, don't wait a whole year. It's coming up in a few months. Okay. Good one. I don't know where I am now. So, oh, wonderful. Well, thank you so much. As usual, it was just so full of so much wisdom and so much heart and so much beauty. And I love you, and I so
I love
appreciate
you.
doing. Uh, it's just so wonderful to know people out in the world, and we're like creating these little currents of our own unique joy and light through everything that's happening. So, thank you for being you. Give your honey bunny a big, big hug from us.
You
Thank you
too.
both
You too.
you for your gifts. Thank you for writing your books. I mean, everything that you're doing, as I know you know, is not easy, right? This is a big journey to put this information out there, but it's a legacy of helping people. And so remember Raquel's first book, especially if you really want to just have a reference, because when you taught me about the inner authority, that was very profoundly transformative. just kind of going, what?
It
A
helps.
whole other level of understanding it, yet it completely changed and really did sync me up with my true flow.
Yeah.
Okay, namaste. Thank you, everyone.
Namaste. So good to see you. Mwah.
So what we're going to do now is just go on out. We'll leave this beautiful circle and we'll ask for all of these sacred guides for this beautiful journey that we've been on to integrate in the most magical, perfect, beautiful ways, coming deep into us. Take a deep breath in. Come back into your body and realize that you're going to be walking into your day. You're going to be walking out into the world in your physical body, and let that breath go and spread out that peace, that harmony, that sense of balance of you and your masculine. All of the beautiful information that's brought up visions, ideas, releases, cleanses, and healings today. And now just embody the idea of gratitude. Thank you, appreciation, reverence for this moment, for Raquel, for all her guides, for her wisdom, for her life journey that brought her here. Feel gratitude for yourself. Bathe your body in it. Thank you for being here. Thank you for remembering. Thank you for waking up. Thank you for going through everything that you've gone through to be here now. You're precious and I love you. Now overflow that gratitude as if it is pouring out of your cells and your pores into your body, your clothes, your floor, your couch, your house, your car, your everything, and say, I am a child of infinite abundance, divine guidance, and endless joy. And I walk, talk, speak, touch, create, and give. I receive and give blessings with every word and every exchange. We give great thanks. May this circle be open yet unbroken, and this beauty and peace walk with us. Thank you, everybody. I'll see you next time.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.